Hello, this is Florian Munsch for Mining Scout. I'm here joined by Daryll Jones, President and CEO of Alpha Copper. So good to have you here, Daryll.
Thanks, Florian. Very much appreciate the time.
Yeah, so Alpha Copper is a relatively young company, or is an exploration company in the copper field. You have two projects in BC. Would you tell our audience more about it?
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you for the introduction. Again, as Florian mentioned, Daryll Jones, CEO of Alpha Copper Corp. We are as you mentioned, a relatively new company. We converted a public company in Vancouver called Prophecy Potash into Alpha Copper Corp with the mindset that the green revolution is going to be mainly propelled by a whole slew of new metals. Obviously, the lithium ion batteries and the technology has pushed EV tech to a new level, and now it's time, I think, for some of the other metals to shine. And realistically, we believe we're situated in what's now being deemed as Chile North in BC. Mm-hmm. So we've selected two projects, one of which was actually already in the company, the Indata project, which is located near Fort St. James in that sort of Quesnel Trough. It's a project that's near and dear to one of our largest shareholders' hearts, who's a mining engineer, and to our technical advisor and board member, Bill Morton. Bill is president of Eastfield. He's had his hands on Stardust, Quanica, Lorraine Copper, multiple discoveries in this specific belt of rocks and this specific sort of BC copper porphyry story. Yep. So, that leads us to the next project, which is the Okeover, which is it's like 15 kilometers north of Powell River. So it's near a deep sea port. It's an existing copper molybdenum porphyry deposit. It's albeit a historic resource. It's got roughly 300 million pounds of copper at about 0.36%. So right in the range that can get exciting. It's got a small molybdenum resource as well, and we're really excited about that one alongside the Indata. So we've situated ourselves with two pretty strong BC assets right now. And just quickly, myself, I'm still involved with Alpha Lithium, but I handed over the presidency to another engineer and started looking for other assets. And that's how we sort of came on to Alpha Copper was, what's next in the EV space. So here we are today.
Yeah, with more than $4 copper a pound. So pretty strong market in general. And you say Dr. Copper. So let's see how the whole economy will turn out from now on. But copper is in a strong position. And both of your projects are porphyry systems, as I heard. So porphyry projects are really in need right now because even with low grades, sometimes you have really, really high tonnage and high strike lengths.
Yeah, and I mean, as it stands now, copper, you don't traditionally find a lot of high-grade copper projects that get pushed through to production very rapidly. And even today, I mean, you've got a massive undersupply going forward for the EV markets, and really there hasn't been a lot of new discoveries, let alone a lot of mines that come online. So these are the types of projects which the larger companies get excited about. The Kaminkos, Vale, all these companies. This is their bread and butter, and BC is situated right now very, very well. Our project Indata it's got a few targets on it. It was primarily drilled for gold in the 80s and 90s with some very, very strong results, but nobody chased down the porphyry targets on it. Yeah. We've got some carbonate replacement deposit type sort of geophysical signatures showing up, which we're actually just working on right now. And we are just south of a company called Northwest Copper, which has the Stardust in Quanica, and both of those are phenomenal discoveries. Obviously, recently with some very, very high grade copper mineralization, and we believe we have the same package of rocks, the same age, the same the same address. So we're excited to get working on that.
How is the development stage of those two projects? So do you have a resource defined or any historic mining on the property?
The Indata project has had, I'm going to say, roughly $5 to $6 million spent on it. So we've just embarked on our first exploration program. We've done a lot of background work. We've gone back over some of the IP lines, some of the geophysics. These projects traditionally are under overburden, so they're not easily found via the traditional exploration techniques. Yeah. So in the news, we just announced a drill program, 5,000 meters, which will have some more updates on the targets. But we're starting at the southern end of the project, which we believe has carbonate replacement deposit sort of signatures on it, and then there's also porphyry targets around. But we're going to be picking up where Prophecy, Eastfield, Tech. I mean, the companies that have worked on this is pretty phenomenal. So our first drill hole is actually number 74. And traditionally, these projects, these porphyry sort of under overburden type projects, don't get found unless you're really, really lucky until you get up into 70, 80, 90, some of them even hundreds of drill holes before you actually get into the main mineralized system. So we feel pretty confident with all the work that's been done, and then all the early stage work that we've sort of re-gone over, and we've put together a target package which we're extremely confident about. So we'll be drilling that probably into October at least, with results sort of, I would expect, beginning to come in late August from that program. And the 5,000 meters is obviously a very healthy program to test, but if we are on to anything, we are well capitalized, and we will continue to drill out there as long as the weather permits.
Let's elaborate on well capitalized. So how much do you have in the bank? How is the financial situation in general? When would you have to go to the market next time?
Well, I mean, when do we have to go to the market? I guess it's really dependent upon how much we spend in the program. But right now, we closed $10 million financing 4 months ago, so that just came free trading. We have about 8 million, I'd say 7 million in the bank now after sort of establishing ourselves, property payments, getting everyone up and running. Yeah. This program on Indata is $1 million Canadian, which we took in flow through for that specifically. So that's more than enough in the bank account to accommodate this program, plus what we're planning at Okeover, and if warranted, we can expand the programs very rapidly.
Yeah, great. How about your shareholders?
Yeah, so I mean, predominantly retail. I mean, we've built a pretty good network, pretty good following. Obviously, I left Alpha Copper, didn't leave Alpha Copper, but I sort of shifted roles there and brought over some of the existing shareholders, and we were able to put together a really strong base. Some retail, some not a lot of institutional at this stage. I think it's you never want to give the company away at these levels. Yeah. So we've got the support we need, and we'll move forward.
Okay, great. So for the rest of this year and next year, could you give us some kind of guideline? What are you going to do? You already mentioned drilling in October. Elaborate a little bit. What can investors expect?
Yeah, that's great. So we started drilling, I guess about a week and a half ago. So I think we're pretty well through the first hole. Only 140 meters total of 5,000. So we've got, probably another 15 to 20 holes to go at least on this program, which we will drill all the way through October. We're just in the process of establishing a drill program on Okeover, which we haven't decided on the exact amount yet, but it'll be substantial to test, because that project in itself we haven't really spoken about is already has a resource. It's got a very, very easy low-lying access. very high geophysical signature that just goes for about 3 kilometers. So we've got a sort of two-pronged approach there. We'd like to build out the resource under our own name, because the historic one it's outdated and it's under the previous company.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So we'll look to continue to add ounces or add pounds along strike on that. But then also there's a feeder system to this deposit. And so it's never been drilled below 300 feet. So the goal would be to test the deeper extensions there and really try to knock it out of the park with that. But, on the baseline, we're going to continue adding pounds, drill up strike, and look towards a 43-101 of our own for, let's hope early, second quarter of next year.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah. And then on Indata, obviously, we will be shut in by winter at some point. We don't know when, probably November at the latest, we would think. So, we'll have at minimum 5,000 meters of drill core, some orientation work to do on, putting together what the next program looks like. But we would expect results from, I would say, August through to November on that project. So it's going to be a very busy news season for us from, let's say late July to, Christmas time.
Yeah, great, Daryll. So why is it for investors a good time to invest now with all that coming? What would you say?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think there's a multi sort of factor approach. One, our location in BC, the province is ripe for consolidation. We've got our eye on several other targets. We're mainly focused on Indata and Okeover because we believe we have something very interesting with both these. But I think that you saw at, say, Roundup and the Resource Investment Conference, there's a lot of companies up here with some substantial resources that are exceptionally cheap. So I think you've got some consolidation in the BC copper sort of public company game. It's now being deemed as Chile North. Obviously, South America has its own sort of currency, geopolitical risks, whereas BC, Canada, it's a pretty friendly jurisdiction. So, that's the first sort of factor. Obviously, the EV market, the evolution, the understanding of copper being by weight probably the largest component of batteries, wind, solar, charging stations, buses, all of this. So, as that stuff starts working its way down the supply chain to the end, to the end user type, we believe there's a robust market ahead of us. And then realistically, it's there hasn't been a mining cycle. There hasn't been substantial mining investment. And so, that's just your basic supply demand where no new mines have been found, put online, current resources are being sort of worked down. You've got obviously elevated copper prices that now bring, lower grade deposits into economic glory. So
and the producers still need new projects because they are spending less, or they have been spending less on exploration themselves for the last couple of years. So really the juniors didn't really move in this mining cycle, but let's hope they will. Yeah. So and with 5,000 meters expected, so the results coming this year, or I think that sounds really solid.
Yeah, we're extremely excited. Like I said, we're capitalized. We won't need to go back to the market. We expect to, have a really steady news flow with results and exciting opportunities that are going to come forward. So I think it's time to watch and obviously, prepare yourself for a big EV market, green market, copper market.
Yeah, thank you very much, Daryll. So this was a quick interview here for Mining Scout. This is Daryll Jones, and you can find Alpha Copper on the Canadian Securities Exchange under the symbol ALCU. And I will also post the WKN for German investors below. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Florian.